Welcome, everybody. We are here, another episode, another show. We are in the crypt. It is early in the morning here, guys. Let me tell you, I won't lie. I don't like time zones. I'm not a fan of them, but I will make exceptions when I have an incredible guest lined up. I'm so happy to get this guest on. It's been something I've been trying to set up for about a month now. And, very excited to have them on here. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful that they took the time to come and speak with me, and as you guys know, I am definitely a metalhead. I think anybody that's watched any of my interviews, listened to my radio show, you guys know that I am definitely rock and metal. But I will say this, that over the last probably 5 months, I have definitely really grown to appreciate other genres of music. And one, for instance, is hip hop. Something I never really listened to a lot when I was growing up. Something I didn't even listen to a lot as an adult. I mean, I heard other hip, you hear the main names on the radio and stuff like that, but it was not something I followed. It was more, as I said, metal for me all the way, guys. But somebody asked me to go ahead and listen to this gentleman's a few of their songs, and as soon as I did, I became an instant fan. No joke. And I really, really love their music. I really do, guys. Play it all the time. I love the message. We talk about, and this gentleman who I'm going to introduce very shortly, he talks about in his music all the stuff that I cover in my podcast with my guest. And these are important topics. He covers objective morality, principles, natural law, truth, freedom, freedom of speech, you name it. All the things that we are losing at a rapid pace. And I think that it's great to bring the message out. And when you can do it in music form, I think that really adds something, because music, I always say, is the thing that can bring people together and be that common ground. And I'm living proof of it, because if I can go from a metalhead to listening to hip hop and I'm really starting to appreciate it, I'm learning about the history of it. It's amazing, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead. I don't want to babble too much here, because I don't want to take all the time just talking away to myself here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome my guest to the show, none other than DISL Automatic. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the for that introduction.
Well,
Appreciate that.
thank you for being here. I mean, I'm like I was saying just at the introduction there, I'm learning about this whole hip hop culture, and it's fascinating to me. It really is, D. It's something I like I was saying, I never really listened to it a lot. All of my What's really fun, I was telling you off air before we started recording, is that all of my friends that I hang around with, my close friends, are all huge hip hop guys. I know guys that they sing, they do hip hop, they've recorded some songs. They're not big names or anything. They're just kind of doing it out of their house or their garage, but they are very active in the hip hop scene. I don't know much about it, guys. So if anyone's listening and I say something that's not right, or I don't use a correct term, I apologize up front. I'm learning as I go here. So let me ask you something, D. I would like to just ask you,
Yeah.
where did this all start for you? How were you growing up? Like, how did you get in this whole scene of hip hop, and like growing up, like how did this all start?
Yeah, I mean, it started a long time ago. A long time ago. So I'm from Chicago. My parents are immigrants from the former Yugoslavia. So, born in Chicago, immigrant parents, growing up in the early years, didn't have much. It was the typical kind of immigrant struggle, living in the inner city. You know, not in the by far not like Chicago's notorious for. It's some of the worst neighborhoods
Mm,
in America, right? So we weren't in the worst of the worst, but a lot of times it was not the greatest neighborhoods either. What people refer to as the hood or whatever you want to call it. And just a very multicultural environment, and so it wasn't something I sought out. You know what I mean? It wasn't
mm,
something that was influenced by some famous celebrity, or kind of how nowadays is just. It wasn't something that um, anybody could just be part of. You
right.
couldn't just come as an outsider into our neighborhood and where we were at and just start rapping with us and be hip hop. Like, nah, you essentially it's where you grew up, who you were around. It's you. We didn't even know, right? We weren't like we were just doing things like we knew it was hip hop, but it's just what we did,
Right.
right? So basically, it started really with my sisters because my sisters were hip hop heads as young girls, and they hung out with the rappers and things of that nature, right? And they used to listen to rap. I mean, the first one of the most impactful songs I heard chilling in my sister's room. It was LL Cool J. Mama said, "Knock you out." Like I
All
think,
right.
yeah, and because it was a hype, because even now my music is like most of it is hype. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with
Yep.
some type of aggression. And that was kind of the first time I was 8 years old at the time, but I was blown away because usually rap was back then like a da 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 da. Like it wasn't really, and he was just coming, I'm gonna knock you. Like, so, that was a result of my sisters being hip hop heads themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I just got older and um I actually was always into rap and rapping in my head and just but I didn't really come out with it because I was a kid and even then like I'm talking like elementary, middle school, it wasn't many guys my age that were actually really rapping like that. The older cats were and shit, like some of the cats would try to, but I really in my head I took it seriously too. So but what happened, the real way I actually came out and started rapping was when I was a kid in middle school. The popular thing we did is like probably you'll get your whole school will probably get canceled now and shut down. But back then, we called it heating or ranking or dirty dozens, making fun of each other. That's
Oh.
what we did. Your mom's so fat, you're so ugly, you're so dumb, whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and me, I always wanted to be the best at anything that I kind of did like that. So I'm not trying to let cats clown on me. I gotta, and mind you, I was a relatively easy target because as a kid, I was chubby, I wore glasses, white kid, and most of the kids that was doing this were black or Hispanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had to be sharp. I had to come with, the best.
Right.
And sometimes people got me, of course, like that's just how it was. But the thing that I did was I came up with a rhyme. I premeditated it. It wasn't a freestyle, but nonetheless, I came up with a rhyme form of an insult to some kid, and I prepared it. And the next day in school, boom, because I knew, me and him would always go at it. So I knew at some point it's gonna be on, and I had to come with it. So I came up with this little rhyme. I can't remember it, but sure enough, I busted it out, and I mean everybody went nuts. Like
Right on.
everybody that was around, it was in a full classroom. Everybody was like, "Oh shit!" And one of my main homies, right? Like, and we were all into hip hop, and would kind of like freestyle and mess about. But after that, he told me like, "Bro, you should really write lyrics. Like, you should really sit down and write some lyrics, raps."
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I did, and then kept still rapping in the streets, freestyling. Back then, it was all mainly it was because we'd write lyrics down, but didn't nobody have access to a studio. I couldn't
Right.
go to a studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was still mainly in the streets, just freestyling off the top of the dome with your crew in a cipher. Everywhere we go, we're freestyling, right? So by high school, now I'm fully immersed in hip hop culture. I mean, I'm talking about in high school, we had huge crews, like gangs, hip hop gangs. We called them crews, right? So it was the crew that I was in, which was called TBC. And then there was a huge rival crew called SMD. And I'm talking about because I had a big high school, maybe like close to like 5,000 kids, right?
Oh
So
wow.
each of
Yeah.
these crews had like 30, 40 people in them, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
legit little gangs. And we just were going at war, graffiti everywhere. We used to at house parties or whatever, breakdance battles, rap, of course, freestyle battles. and fight. Fighting was a big part of it too. We was always fighting. You
Right.
know, it just is what it was. Like often one time, the first time I saw a gun in the street. I seen a gun before at the crib, my dad's guns. But first time I saw a gun on the street was over some hip hop beef that we had. It was between these two crews in high school, and things just escalated, and
Wow.
nobody got shot. So luckily, but you know, guns were brought out. It was like shit got really serious, right?
That's
So it was,
crazy.
yeah, because it's still street culture, and a lot of the cats that were in the crews were in gangs. Actually, the crews weren't gangs themselves, but some of the members were also in gangs or gang affiliated. So yeah, it was just crazy, bro. But nonetheless, I'm freestyling now. Open, you know, everybody knows I'm one of the best rappers at the school at this point. Like I'm
Hmm.
just going off the top, all off the top of the dome, bro. Like people knew what time it was. So by the time senior year comes around, me and a few other cats, we decide to form a group, a rap group. You know, we some of the best in the school. We form a rap group, underground rap group. We go out to from Chicago to Madison, Wisconsin, to a professional recording studio. We cut this EP. We put that shit out. Next thing we know, we're doing shows, opening for Grammy Award winning The Roots. If any, you
Wow.
know anyone familiar with hip hop will know them. In front of thousands of people. We're doing all types of underground shows with some of the biggest underground acts. Back then, anyone who knows hip hop, I'm talking about like Atmospheres, you know, Slug, Atmosphere, Nonfiction, Necro. Who else was up there? The whole Rhyme Sayers, the whole just it was the biggest underground acts at the time, and we were like 18, 19 years old. We just put out some dope shit, and it did well. So
Hmm.
that kind of is when I went from just being, you know, a street dope, the pretty much the dopest locally with freestyling, to like an actual recording artist and performing artist. You know what I'm saying? And seeing like, okay, I can actually do something with that. And at the same time, this was like 99, 2000. And simultaneously, while this is happening, rap itself in mainstream is getting bigger and bigger as well. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yep. Yep.
So, and my life is changing. I'm getting older. I after high school, I tried college, but I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to just try to make it with this music shit. So now I'm in my early 20s, but at that point, you know, I'm also into other shit because, you know, even though I'm like I'm trying to be I know I'm gonna blow off this rap shit, right? Like I'm gonna make it off this rap shit. And at that point, my whole shit was like, okay, now rap is big. I could be rich and famous off this shit too,
Right.
right? So I'm thinking more. I'm not Diesel Automatic at the time. You know, I'm a whole different person with a whole different mindset and goals and aspirations and shit, right? So, but nonetheless, I'm like, okay, but meanwhile, everybody around me, you know, one of my best boys, he's making big money, hustling, pushing weight, you know, and I'm just like, man, I'm over here working jobs and shit and just trying to do my music and make something of it. And it's going well. Like I was getting recognition, I was doing shows locally, all of that. And ultimately I was on the verge of getting a major record deal. Actually, it's a wild story, bro. But anyhow, because I've already been talking mad long, so it
Oh, that's all. I love it. I love it.
yeah, because I can't. The backstory is too, you know, it's deep, right? So at this point, I got a record deal basically in the works. I got local recognition. I'm the man. I'm also hustling. I'm making money. I'm 23 years old, you know, um,
Wow.
and nice car, nice apartment, kind of everything these rappers rap about. And I wasn't even no, I wasn't some big kingpin or big shot but I was doing well. Plus off the music, like I was living the life, bro. For a kid that age, like the typical man who that's what they want, right? They want women, they
Absolutely.
want money, they want to be able to go to the club, go to VIP, pop bottles, this and that. I was doing that, right? But it all came crashing to a halt.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you
um,
because I was like kind of wondering. Like to me, it's fat. There's a few things that are fascinating that you're saying. A, that you can do these rhymes, and you have to be so quick at it off the top of your head. That to me,
yeah,
that's a talent that I don't possess. I mean, I try to do things like I'll try in my head to do like what you guys do, and it doesn't work. And it's not my thing. And I find that amazing that you guys like artists like yourself can do it so quickly. And I'm just wondering,
yeah.
like because I'm going by what I know from what I've learned, like in like from TV and stuff like that. When I think of battle rapping, is that what it was like back like in your high school days? And was it high schools battling each other like the crews and neighborhoods? Like was that kind of how beefs were even settled
Nah,
instead
we
of
weren't. It wasn't for us. It wasn't neighborhoods. We were in the same damn neighborhood. It just
wow,
because it was a big school. There's so many kids. Like it's just natural. Kids click up, right? Like,
that's true.
and then later we all became close friends. After high school, after all the fighting and beef, we hated each other. But after we grew up, once we grew up, we realized we're all from the same fucking neighborhood. We all are hip hop heads. We're not kids anymore. We're not about to fucking fight. Like we coming together actually, and we
That's
kicking it.
cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool that you said that you guys come together
yeah,
and
bro.
I was
Interesting. Here's a little
yeah
quick side story for you.
sure
A dude that I hated, and he was another white guy on the rival crew in high school because we were rare. There was maybe like two of us in each crew, white guys, right? And
okay
but he was a big graffiti artist in Chicago. To this day, he's recognized amongst graffiti artists as a legend. King Kaiser, they added the King, but Kaiser was his name. He had an untimely death, but I'll get to that. So me and him, we hated each other. Like it was just a thing about being white boys and the in the rival crews in a primarily not white culture, right? We
hmm
just you have to prove yourself even more as a white dude back then. It was not a privilege in hip hop. It was not, how many times I got labeled in a very negative, condescending way, white boy, white, oh,
hmm
what you doing, white boy, white boy, white boy, but
right
anyway, so us white boys, we hated each other, fought, man, it was like me and him would always go at it, but ended up actually becoming really close after, and like he was the main dude I hated in the opposite crew. Like he was my number one rival in high school, bro. And then later, as grown men, we actually became close, and I'm glad we did because like I said, he had an untimely death. Actually, it was the cops didn't find out or whatever, but we know it was some hip hop related shit because you
really
got beef in hip hop. He's a huge graffiti writer, bro. There's cats don't know about that side of the streets. They when they think streets, they just think drug dealing and these things. But the hip hop, the graffiti culture, and all these, bro, it's violent as fuck. So
wow I didn't know that
oh yeah, because he got hit by a train, totally dismembered. I mean, and this is a guy who lived on the train tracks doing graffiti. Like he used to go like this, and the train would be passing, and he would just be in places like this, fucking doing graffiti and shit. Like, so sure,
wow
accidents could happen,
hmm
but he was in a different hood where we knew there was a crew that didn't like him and his crew. So we just kind of surmised that it was a murder actually. But anyway, point of that is we
wow
I'm glad that I squashed my beef with that man before he passed away. Um, but yeah, it's crazy like that, bro. It's as kids, and that's why like it's so horrible. Kind of a side note, but related. That's why it's so horrible, man, when we see these kids killing each other nowadays, right?
yep
Because you're
absolutely
kids. You can't like all that beef you have. One day you'll grow up if you stay alive, and you'll be like, damn, we're from the same. We are the same person, and yet we're beefing over what? Because you're from a different street than me and a different block than me, and it's insanity, yo. But
it
anyway,
really is
yeah.
wow
But
like
the whole point of my whole backstory is to say I was on that street shit. I was on some dumb shit. I wasn't Diesel Automatic my whole life. I had to go through a lot. My whole life fell apart, bro. Like shit hit the fan. My whole life fell apart. Drastic change of everything, right? And I just laid low. I wasn't rapping. I wasn't doing anything for many years. And then I reemerged. I found out about the truth of this
Mm-hmm.
world. And even though I was no longer rapping and didn't really want to, I did. There was always part of me because it's always in me, but I just was on some other shit. I wasn't trying to be all out there like that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I was trying to be low key, but I just once I found out about the truth, I couldn't. I couldn't not use the talent that I had to put this message out there. I didn't have no fans. I didn't have no everything that I had in the past, all the rap glory from my back in the days, none of it mattered anymore. That person didn't exist anymore. I didn't have any of those connections. I didn't know any of those people. It was all that's done. I'm coming with a new name, a new everything, new message, most importantly, and starting from zero. But I didn't care. I said I have to do this. It doesn't matter, even if just I could reach one person. That was like genuinely, as cliche as it sounds, that was the absolute genuine way that I felt. I just felt so passionate, and I knew that I had been I felt like a warrior, bro. Like I was training my whole life with my skill, sharpening my skill with rap. Knowing I always knew that it was like my purpose. I was just always so good at it. Like nobody ever told me, nah, rap really ain't for you. Don't quit your day job. It was always
Right.
as soon as first time somebody hears me, they're like, yo, you're fucking good. Some people more, some people less, but nobody has ever been like, you're trash. Until I got on the internet, then of course you're
Well,
gonna get a
yeah,
random troll like you're trash,
exactly.
bro. But in real life, never, ever. And I rapped in front of thousands of people. So,
Wow.
you know, so I knew I'm like my whole life I had this skill that I just been honing and perfecting, but I was misguided. I thought the purpose of that skill was for me to be rich and famous and live that life that I was brainwashed to believe would fulfill me and make me special and important and all this other bullshit.
Well, that's how
So
they promote it, though, isn't it? Though, D.
yeah,
Like
of course.
when I think of hip hop, and if you look at most big videos and artists, that's what they're flaunting. They're flaunting. They got the women. They're throwing money around. They're
That's it,
driving the
bro.
cars, the mansions. The typical. I'm sure. So, was that your goal when you first started rapping? Because I know that you went through a transformation, which I want to really get into. But at first,
No,
when
it
you
wasn't.
first started rapping, was that
No,
I'm sure that was your goal, or was it not your goal?
no. When I first started, not at all, bro. When I first started, because when I first started, early 90s, the thought of even making money like that was a dream, was a fantasy
Right.
out of rap.
Okay.
Nobody was thinking about that. And especially for us, it seems so far-fetched. I started rapping just because I loved it always. I just always loved it. I did it in my head. I knew I could do it better than rappers that were out. I just always felt confident and I loved it. It was just, now I know my brain, to me, rapping, coming up with rhymes is problem solving. It's a puzzle, bro. It's a
That's a
puzzle
good
with
point. Yeah.
words and rhymes and rhythm. It's a very difficult puzzle. like, but it's a puzzle nonetheless. And my mind really, that problem solving aspect of it. Once I get an idea, right, for a rhyme, I have to figure out a way to piece it all together and make it sound
Right.
good and make sense, of course. So, but
Right.
no, absolutely not for the money, bro. It didn't become about the money until I was in my 20s.
Hmm.
Once I started getting more money in the streets, that started reflecting in my music as well, because I really was living that. I was really living what I was rapping about, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But so that's all it really was, man. It just, money is and a little bit of power, and that's something I try to tell people. Like, people don't understand how what power can do to people. Like, and when we talk about the elite, the elitists, and these scum that have all the power in the world, Imagine what that does to someone's head. Like, there's no way you're gonna be just cool about it and be a good person with all that power. You wouldn't hoard it in the first
Agreed.
place. But I know, bro, because I had a little bit of money. I was not rich. I wasn't even the biggest, hustler, nothing like that. But I was for my friend group and around the way for a period of time there, I was what you would call balling, just hood balling. Like, um, but the power that comes with that, because there is a level of power when you're in that type of environment where the primary value is on money and material things. If you have money, you also have power to those
Right.
people.
Yep.
That's just how it is, right? And even just that little bit of power and just the ego trip of people, everybody thinking you're the man and this and that, man, especially of course as a kid, it just it you have to be a person of sound mind and spirit and really be at a place in your life where you can't really be corrupted. I know I'm at that place now, but that took me a long time, working on myself to get to that point. Most
Right.
people, man, they think these politicians and these, world leaders, like they have not done the internal work, and it's all for them, it's all ego based. It's power, it's
Absolutely.
hoarding power, and that alone, just that alone, that so many people are just hoarding power and knowing that, what do they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Yep.
um that alone should be enough for everybody in the world to just be like, this is bullshit, we've had enough of this. Like,
You would think so. You would think
that's
so.
all. We shouldn't even have to go any further than that to really make this the point that I know people like us try to make,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Absolutely. Like I think about what you're saying, and it's so true. And when you see the power that these people have and then how they abuse it, it gets so frustrating. And then it gets frustrating in turn, as I'm sure you probably get frustrated at times too, because you kind of don't see people even a lot of times not caring enough to even look at things or kind of like question themselves. And I agree with you, D, 100% that people need to do the work on themselves. I talk about that all the time, and it kind of sounds like that's what you were mentioning, that you kind of went through a period where you weren't rapping and you were kind of, you were. It sounds like you were discovering who you truly were at that period. If I'm understanding what you're saying.
To be honest, towards the back end of it, yeah, that's when my discovery, because initially that's how I came across the truth about things like the war on drugs, about the monetary system, and so on and so forth, and just kept digging deeper, right? But initially, it was first kind of like a kind of more of what one might call a spiritual awakening. It
Right.
wasn't
Yep.
so political at first, right? And that's when I kind of started. That was like 2009, 2010. So that's when I started to change and go down a rabbit hole and just get this insatiable hunger for knowledge and
I get
truth,
that. Yeah.
and just for years and years just was every just reading, studying, thinking, everything. And I mean, I still do, don't get me wrong, but in the early days, man, I was just beast
You can't
mode.
get enough. You just constantly
Yeah,
want more. That's how I'm still like that.
exactly, bro.
But what I want
So,
to
but
but
yeah,
what I
it
think
it
is go
it
ahead,
started
sorry.
on the spiritual level,
Right,
and yeah, bro, just but before then, to be honest, to answer your question, like, it wasn't the years prior to that where I wasn't rapping or anything, it wasn't transform. Well, everything is transformative, I
right.
suppose. It contributed ultimately, but those years, nah, bro, I was just laying low, not doing much of anything, man. Just
Right,
little here and there. I, just the usual, go out to the clubs, get drunk, hook up with some women, but that's about it.
right.
Just
But,
no
like, I still think
purpose,
it added.
no purpose, no fucking, no meaning really to my life. I was depressed. It was fucked up.
Right.
So yeah, bro, this the transformation, it saved me in a lot of ways. It gave me purpose, bro. And here I am, like, over a decade I've been doing it, man, consistently. And to this day am just as passionate
Yeah.
as I was back then. Like it's because it's 100% real to me. Always has been, always will be.
And it
You
shows.
know,
It definitely
that's
shows in your music. And what I think about when about your story about what you're telling as you were growing up, I think you saw you because you were on the streets, D. You saw the world. You saw the world in a different way than I would. I didn't grow up in the neighborhoods like that. So you were mentioning, that you learned the truth about the war on drugs and a
yeah,
lot of other things that the media puts out there. And I mean, you had a really unique look at that because that was your everyday life. You were in the streets. You
yeah.
saw all of this. So I mean, it must have been like that's so powerful when you started to I imagine when you were starting to wake up and you were like, wow, this is all just bullshit what they're putting out there. Like, I mean, you have a really
Oh yeah,
unique take on it, and that shows in your music.
yeah, bro. I mean, that in particular, the war on drugs was like the first political thing that really just lit a fire inside of me because I was a victim of it myself,
Hmm.
and many people that I know have been, and even the ones that I don't know don't care if I don't know them. It's injustice. I
Right.
mean, when it just hit me, myself, my situation, um, everybody else, lives ruined, communities decimated,
Hmm.
families torn apart, fathers in particular taken away from their children, right?
Yeah.
All these things, innocent people, really innocent. We can't just say when it comes to drugs of any kind and using or selling. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever spent any time in prison for nonviolent drug offenses of any kind is an innocent person. They did
Yeah.
not they did not break any actual natural law as long as everything was consented to.
Yeah.
That's it. And some people want to, oh well, if someone's on drugs and they're strung out, like how can they really consent? Well, if we have to play that game, then there's so many things we're going to have to factor in then to what is consent. And then it just becomes this mess of a gray area. Because if that's the case, I mean, how many people are in their everyday lives actually even conscious and aware of anything? They're
Good
all to
point.
some degree a result of brainwashing from their parents, from programming. So even a grown ass adult who is totally brainwashed and not really even able to think for themselves, then we could say, well, are they consenting?
Hmm.
They're under some type of influence, literally.
Literally. Yep.
They're also under an influence. So we can't play that game. Consent is consent. As long as it's an adult, every adult knows what they're doing when they're taking drugs. They know how to get help if they want help. It sucks. I wish nobody fucking took hard drugs, and I wish none of the shit existed.
Yeah.
Honestly, I ain't some, oh yeah, everybody just do drugs and get fucked up. No, I mean, I'll smoke some weed, obviously, but all that other shit, no way. That shit will ruin your fucking life. Stay
Yeah.
away from it. Stay away from alcohol too. Alcohol ruins fucking lives.
I know that
Stay away
personally.
from all that shit.
Yep.
But since it's around, we need to be free. If people want to do it, do it. You don't, great.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody should be fucking in prison for none of this shit.
I've been
Like
saying
that's
that for
insane. It's
years.
insane.
Yep.
Anybody who has any type of it's unreal. It's unreal, bro. I feel like I'm from the future. Like how they say like, oh, people in the future will look back and think this is crazy. I feel like that. I don't need to be in the future. I am in the future now because I look at it right now and I'm like, this is insane. I mean, I say the war on drugs, if you factor in everything, right? All the fucking lives destroyed, families, communities, particularly in the city communities, decimated, all the violence that's a byproduct of all of that that decimates communities, fathers taken away, again, primarily inner city kids losing their fathers, and then they're bad, they're gang members, they're right, all of this shit, all the innocent people that have rotted away in prison for this shit, right?
Hmm.
Then you also want to add in the conspiracies of the Iran Contra and the CIA being the ones bringing the fucking drugs in the first
Yep.
place.
Exactly.
Right? Add that to the slab.
Yep.
And then you want to get into all the taxpayers' dollars that have literally just gone into a black hole abyss of a losing fucking war. Over what, 50 trillion at this point
Mm-hmm.
since the drug war started. When you factor all those things in, I think that makes an argument for it being one of the worst acts of, what would you even call it? Domestic terrorism?
That's a very good term I would use. Yeah.
Domestic terrorism?
Sure.
Democide?
Yep.
It's a form of democide, I'd say. Just because the government's not directly killing people, it's resulting in a lot of deaths.
Yep.
All because of the government. And when
Yep.
we factor all of that in, and to me, I think it should be just such a bit more bigger deal to people, even people like in the conscious community, and that know that are against the war on drugs. I just still feel like it doesn't really ever get emphasized like this, how I just put it in its proper context of how horrible it is.
Yeah.
And there's no real end in sight
No, it's
in
getting worse.
2023.
Yeah. It's getting worse.
Yeah, fuck this little weed legalization and shit like this. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, I've lost friends. I know exactly what you're talking about, D. I've lost friends to drugs. Just over the last few years, I've lost a really good friend to it, and I agree with what you're saying too about. And then me and you, I'm sure we could talk for hours about the prison system, and how that's a business, and that's a whole rabbit hole you can go into. How
Yeah,
these prisons, how
that's
they do.
another good
Yeah.
call. Add that to the list of
Yep.
atrocities. I mean, private prisons, right?
That's
They're
crazy. Yeah.
financed by the state, and it's all based on the amount of prisoners they pack. Otherwise, the state owes money. So of course now the state is incentivized to pack those prisons.
Yep.
And
Isn't
what's the
that
easiest way?
crazy?
You ain't catching a fucking rapist in the act. You ain't catching a murderer in the act, but you could damn sure go and stop somebody and pat them down. Oh, you got some weed on you? Oh, you got some coke on you? Oh, they got a headlight out. Pull them over. Oh, you got some drugs in here? Oh, take your ass to prison. And on top of that, let me get that car. Let me get all the money you have, everything on you at the time of your arrest. They fucking take.
Yep.
So it's also a goddamn criminal syndicate racket.
Yeah, it's theft.
everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's the
Yep.
worst. It's the
And then they
worst.
give you some
But it's
crazy number.
mastermind at the same time.
Yeah, and
It's
they give the prison terms that they're giving people for even a gram is crazy. Like the time they're getting. And I'm sure it's lightening up a little bit, but still, there's a lot of people
then
that did a lot of time.
the prisoners are cheap labor. We
Yep.
could add that into it.
Yep.
Then you have companies like AT&T that lobby for strict drug laws because they make so much money off of long distance calls, of any calls from inmates. I mean, it is it's a conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory. This is all true facts.
It's
and
facts.
When it's all linked together, what else is it besides a conspiracy? And by far one of the most all-encompassing. I can't really think of something else that factors has so many different layers and aspects in that just impacts society so deeply.
Yeah,
I mean,
I tell
even
people
now,
it's like go ahead.
No, I love what's seeing people wake up these past 3 years with the whole COVID, this great. But again, I'm like, why not the war on drugs? Like, this COVID shit has been horrible. And of course, I've been a huge voice against it, but it's not even anywhere near, not even on the same spectrum of damage caused as the war on drugs. Not even fucking close. Not even close.
Exactly.
Not even close.
Yeah, now, I tell people
it was imperative that we stood up for it because it could in the future become another form of even worse than the war on drugs. But the war on drugs has just been over 50 years. So much damage, like it ain't even close. So point is, I'm just like, man, that's great. I don't want to be a fucking, that old man like, why didn't you go? Like, no, I'm happy. Everyone who woke up these past few years, great. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you're late, but you're
yeah,
welcome.
right. Because to me, there's so many things, but I just feel like if the war on drugs, when somebody really knows and knows all these aspects that you and I went over right now, and really breaks down and thinks about it, I don't see how that couldn't wake somebody up. You know what I mean? I don't see
Yeah,
how that alone couldn't just be enough for a person to be like, oh my God, then that means this whole shit is rigged. This whole shit is
exactly.
bullshit.
Yep.
You know?
That's what I tell people, D. I'm like, we're dealing with a multi-headed hydra here that people have no idea how messed up and how evil the system is, and in so many different ways. We're touching on a couple things. We're talking a little bit about the prison system, on the war on drugs. There's so much more to it, and it's just such a this evil. I always tell people that we're dealing with evil that you can't even comprehend it. I really mean that when I say that to people, that we're dealing with people that know humanity so well and know how to program us and how to mind control us and steer us, that I do agree with you. I see people waking up, but I mean, it kind of seems like now that COVID's dying, at least where I live, it's dying back a little. It's not really, talked about as much. People have kind of went back to being complacent again. They've kind of went into their comfort zone because the lockdowns are done. All of this is done. So they're kind of, I think this is the time where we have to keep going forward and not
Always.
just rest, like kind of say, okay, well, now let's wait for the next thing. We have to move forward because we're losing our freedom of speech drastically. I know with you, you've done videos, you've had them pulled off of YouTube, you've been
Yep.
censored on Spotify. I mean, this is real stuff going on.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, listen, now is the time to every time is the time to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
There will never be a time where there's not injustice, and oppression. And sure, there's levels and degrees to it, like everything in this world.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's always happening. And I'm sure you, like myself, and many of your listeners and many others will keep doing this until everything changes or until I can't.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
Exactly.
this is it, man. Like, at this point for me, I'm well over a decade. I mean, pretty much 13 years at this point, going on 13 years now. Um, yeah, man. It's just I don't get how I see it. Not often, but I see sometimes where people just kind of quit on it. Like I don't
Yeah.
like maybe their values and they're still there. They haven't changed. They haven't like sold out or anything, but they just quit their form of activism. They stop speaking out. Or to me, I
Have to
can't.
move forward. Yeah. Like you
Yeah,
do
I
with your
can't.
music.
I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
Like
And
maybe when I'm like 60, or when I'm like old as fuck or some shit, right? Like I don't know.
I think you'll
But
still be going stronger if things haven't changed. I think you'll still be going. I
yeah,
really
I mean,
do.
to be honest, I think I'll always be doing some form of activism, even if it's just speaking. Even, let's say maybe I stop making music. I'll still at times do speaking events or whatever the technology may be at that time,
Who
YouTube
knows? Yeah.
or whatever. I'll probably always, no, I definitely always will. I
I
just
think
think
so.
the
I can
music, I
just
don't know,
tell.
I don't know if I want to, but music too, probably. Like maybe not at the rate I do it now and have been doing it. But even when I'm like 60, I'll probably just pop up randomly with a fucking new song. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That'd be
just,
awesome.
yeah, just whenever I feel like it, without any like, oh, I gotta, because now, I mean, it's what I do, bro. It's my full-time gig. Like, I
Right.
just make music. Like, and I make a lot of it. I got,
That's what I
just
was
this
gonna bring up. Yeah, like you do. Like when did you? Because I find it like I was saying when I first at the beginning of the show that I didn't really know there was such a thing as this. I like what somebody called. They told me it was like conscious hip hop. I don't know if that's the
yeah,
correct term for it. I didn't even know it really existed. When did you decide to go down that path? Because I'm assuming that I'm trying to, and forgive me if I don't word it right. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
but I'm sure that there, you could do the path of what the mainstream hip hop is doing, and what we were talking about earlier. And then you wanted to go the truth. You wanted to tell people what's really going
yeah,
on, and so you went down that path, and you went
yep,
to the conscious hip hop. What made you decide to do that? Was that after you kind of weren't doing it for a while, and you were like, and you were learning about truth and all the things we talked about? That's when you were like, I have to put this in the
yeah,
music.
yep, exactly, bro. And I personally, I know I'll call it conscious hip hop or revolutionary hip hop or whatever, just because for other people,
Okay.
just so they can kind of differentiate. But to me, it's just hip hop because, well, it's rap more properly put, right? Because hip
Okay.
hop is a culture, it's not just the music, right? Rap is
My
the
friend
music,
explained that to me. Yeah, my friend
right?
explained, because I
Rap,
was asking him, like, am I going to be offensive if I say rap? And he's like, no, no, no.
nah, bro,
Hip
it ain't
hop's a
offensive. I
culture,
mean, no, it's not
right?
offensive. Who like I don't care. I just I certainly don't get offended by it, but as a hip hop head, I do like making the distinction, and if people are interested to know, I explain why. So basically, it's because you know, um, to me, rap, real rap, um, is just being real, right?
Hmm.
That was kind of the forte about them rapping about the streets initially, because at that time, yeah, it's all they knew. So they're just keeping it real. They're just talking about their real reality. And so for me, at some point it has to go beyond that, especially for a grown man, right?
Yeah.
So to me, rap, hip hop, what I do is just rap, and it's part of hip hop because I just rap about what's real. Because also keep in mind, I don't only rap, it's not just political or whatever it may be. There's songs in there about my life, some
Hmm.
motivational stuff, I mean, hell, I've even done like love type songs. Like
Yep.
it's just emotional stuff, whatever's real to me, and in this world, if you're a grown up, if you're a grown ass man rapper, if you're a grown ass man rapper and you're not rapping about what's going on in the world, like real issues that really matter, then you're not really actually a grown man.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
you're a fucking sellout
I was going to say you're a
because you're
sellout.
just pandering to what people want to hear, just because that's going to make you money. But
Yep.
otherwise, these fucking 50-year-old Jay-Z, Eminem, these cats, right? I'm not these young boys. I'm not. I don't. I don't give them grief. The young cats, leave them
Hmm.
alone. I was young and dumb. Who am
Yep.
I
Me
to say?
too. Yep. Me
But a
too.
50-year-old billionaire, Jay Z, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all these fucking clowns. No, not even clowns, because clowns are. I don't like. Here's another thing. I don't get offended, but one of my things is why does everybody use clowns as a diss? Like clowns are cool, man. Like yeah, they could be creepy, but think about it. A clown's whole job is to just make kids happy and smile and shit.
Yep.
So we shouldn't call these type clowns, right? They're just punks.
Punks. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these cats, right? They 50 years old. They have to know, bro. They know the industry is shady. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? They know the
Yep.
programming. They know all of it, and they choose to ignore it and just keep rapping about Eminem still fucking rapping about dibbity bibbity boobity boobity bop, just
Yep.
fucking rapping about whatever. Same shit he always rapped about.
Yep.
Like Jay-Z tries to get a little mature now. He put out his album trying to give people advice. Oh, go buy some property. Oh, really? Oh, you don't say, motherfucker. That's the key, huh, Jay-Z? No, buy my album for $20 or whatever,
Yep.
and I'll make you think I'm giving you some profound fucking advice. Like, give me a break, yo. These
No
cats.
doubt. That's crazy. It's true. It's true what you say though. And I mean, when I started listening to your music, I was like, wow, like the way that you put these like the things we're talking about, like we're like natural law. And these aren't easy topics either. Like I have trouble sometimes even talking and making it, come together. And then you're doing this in a rap form, and I'm just like, wow. And what I find fascinating, I was asking you this D off the before we started recording, and I like you to talk about what I've noticed because I listen mostly to metal most of the time. A lot of the collaborate I don't see a lot of collaborating. It's kind of happening more now in rock and metal than it used to, and it
Yeah.
kind of always went on. But I've noticed in the hip hop world, and please educate me if I'm wrong or let me know. But is that like I find it's a really cool thing that you guys all kind of work together, and then so you'll do a song and you'll have a guest, I'm not I guess you would call it featuring or a
Yeah.
guest rap or on with your music. And I think that's amazing. Like that's a common thing in the hip hop world, in the rap world?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's cultural, We always hip hop is rooted in the crew. Like I said, and we had crews in high school. You just always have crew. You're always rapping with other cats. Nobody who really is in hip hop was just rapping by themselves. Like that's just not something that happens. You're
Right.
out, you're rapping. The whole reason you're rapping is because you grew up in that environment. Other kids are rapping. You got a crew. You're doing it, right? So, and you just always want to put your crew on. The common thing with like crews is a rap crew. It's like, okay, if one of us blows up, then they're gonna all of us blow up, right? Because the one
Right.
that makes it big is gonna put us all on. That was a common thread. Because hip hop, there's in the actual culture with things like that, there is a level of loyalty, and not unlike maybe gangs and mafia, and
Mm-hmm.
it's because it's still a street culture where there's some type of rules that apply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and one of kind of the unspoken rules is you put your crew on, you put your homies on. That's just what you do. So of course that would then translate into the recording studio when street rappers like myself, who just came up rapping with your crew on the street, once you now are in the studio and you rapping, eventually you're gonna have a spot, you're gonna have a 16 bar verse on a song that you can't fill out or don't want to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have one of your homies hop on it. You want to put them on.
Makes sense. It really
Yeah.
does.
So I mean,
Yeah.
even now, bro, that's what Get Big Click is. So, I've done that, but just not locally. It just with all these different talents that I've met over the years online in different countries, and we just have been working and formed this bond and this connection. More than just musically now at this point, that's it's all fam, but just musically, that's what Get Big Click is, and it's kind of my way of being the one to put the others on as well.
Right.
Just because I kind of had the head start in a way, or whatever you want to call it, and just was fortunate enough to garner a larger following than the rest. So then it's to me, it's my obligation to help them, by
Right.
using my platform. All right, let's do a song together. I'll put it on my people. You'll get exposure, like whatever it is. It's just hip hop, man. It's what we do. So
That's really cool, helping each other
yeah,
like that. And another thing I wanted to ask you about, because you hear a lot of people talking about, like I've seen how the music industry, from my perspective, because I'm not a music artist, but how the recording industry has changed. Back in the day, you had a record label, and they would promote you, throw money at you, get a records out. They would like there was a lot more backing back. At least I can tell in the '80s and
yeah.
'90s even. Now it seems to be like, what are your thoughts on it now? Because I know it's a big topic, so I don't, but I'm really curious because you're a recording artist, and I mean, you do record your music, and I just want to get your
Yeah.
thoughts. Is it good the way it is now because people can actually put their own music out there, promote it themselves? They're more hands on with it, or do you think losing that big backing has hurt? Like, what are your thoughts on the whole music situation right now with recording and the way it's going?
I love it.
You I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, bro, think about it. An artist like myself would not exist. Period. No major record label would ever sign me. nobody would want anything to do with me, as they don't now. Like,
That's crazy to me.
it's not gonna happen. I'm way too controversial. I'm not, I ain't, no disrespect to anybody, you know. There's rappers that they say are controversial, and
Mm-hmm.
it might be in a generic kind of mainstream way. But they don't really go deep. They don't really go to the root. Because I
That's
know
true.
if you, when you do like I do, bro, and give zero fucks. I mean, I piss
Yep.
everybody off. Over the years, bro, I can't tell you how many straight up, I piss everybody off. I pissed off the left. I pissed off the right. I pissed off the non-vegans. I pissed off the vegans. I
Yep.
pissed off everybody, bro, at some point. Because I don't give a fuck. I say it how the fuck it is. I'm not pandering to the left. I'm not pandering to the right. You know, I'm not talking about I'm not just rapping about the latest headline
Yep.
on Fox News and Republican Twitter, right? I'm like, I'm getting to the root of this shit. I'm talking about fucking revolution,
Absolutely.
you know, inherent liberty, freedom, natural law, natural rights, objective truth, objective morality, peace, love for all, growing in your mind, growing in your spirit, individual accountability, individual responsibility, emotional stability, emotional wellness, emotional intelligence. These are the things that will change the future, not left right politics.
Yep.
These are the things, each individual becoming better, be better. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
and be a good person. It really, in the end of the day, it's so simple. It's so simple. It is the golden rule. Just be a good person. Treat others as you want to be treated. Oh, some people don't want to be treated well.
That's
We're
not
not
true.
talking about sociopaths and fucking
Exactly.
psychopaths and shit. Like, no, most people want to be treated well, just want to be left alone. You don't want to be violated. You don't want your shit stolen. You don't want to be forced to coerced. You don't want to be living in fear. Simple. And if we just don't do that to other people, we just don't do things that cause other people those forms of distress, aggression, violence. It's simple. We all know that.
Yep.
It's literally, it is objective morality because we all have that compass. I mean, it's more than that. I could break it down even further than that. But just the
Okay.
fact that I don't care what anybody says, like, no, we all have an internal moral compass. I know it.
I do
That
too. Yep.
that we know. Same way we know left from right, we know up from down, we know right from wrong. We know.
Exactly. Yep. I
So
agree.
it's so simple. It's so simple, but sometimes the most simplest things are the most difficult for people to do. It's simple in theory. For example,
You
quitting something.
speaking truth, man. Yep.
Hey, quitting something is right. You have an addiction. You're addicted to drugs. Just quit. Yeah, I know. But it's a little bit more difficult than that, isn't it? It's a simple solution. It ain't fucking brain surgery. Just quit, right? And same applies with this.
Yeah.
People, just chill. Just love each other. Just don't you don't have to like each other. You don't have to get along. You don't have to you could even say words to each other. Fuck you. You're this, you're that. So what? Words. It's just words. But
Yep.
just don't cross the line. Don't harm people. And we know what of course physical harm, but now we know enough. We know there's mental, emotional harm,
Yep.
distress we could cause to people. Obviously we know of for other forms of aggression aside from just physical aggression, coercion, exploitation, blackmail, right? What else?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
as long as we factor in all of these very simple principles, ultimately you don't even have to think about any of that. If you just are just a good person, just be it's simple.
That's
You're
what I
not
tell people. Yeah.
Just be a
It's
good
common. It's
person.
common sense, is what I
It
say.
is, man. It
And
is.
we're lacking that, and it's something I talk about all the time. D, I'm just like, I people, to me, they just don't seem to care, and I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people, because they're living in this state of fear, because they're listening to the mainstream media, they're getting caught in this divide. Like, they always tell people, they're always keeping us divided and fighting. We're in that fear state, and then we're in a reactive state because we're in that fear state, and then they're pulling us in so many different directions and dividing people. And I just really hope that people start to work on themselves. I remember you were saying that earlier when we were talking, that
Yeah.
you have to do the work on yourself, and that was key for me. Was when I started doing the work. They call it shadow work. That's what everybody's calling it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I called it wrestling with my demons when I was doing it. I didn't know the term shadow work, but I think that that's what people are really need, just to get back to nature and kind of, I hate using the term unplug from the system, but I mean, it's hard to do. I mean, it's not; these aren't easy answers, a lot of them either. But I love what you're saying, that just do what, like, just don't hurt people, don't steal from people.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Don't be a fucking asshole and don't try to get other people to be assholes and do your dirty work for you. The
Yeah,
government, meaning,
yep,
don't, you know, come on, yo. And let's be just logic. Like, come on, man. I don't, sometimes I do, sometimes it's disheartening. Like, it feels
it
like maybe
is.
some people just don't actually have the mental, because a lot of it is people don't understand certain things, right? And because they lack logic and
Yeah,
reason and rationale, you know what I mean?
yep,
Like the whole COVID argument about masks, who should stay at home, who shouldn't, right? You know that whole
mm-hmm,
big argument. Like, well,
yep,
fine, you don't get a vax then, but don't then you shouldn't be able to come around and this and that because you'll get granny sick and this and that, right? And it's just so simple to anybody with any logic or anything in their mind. I mean, let's say we're going to court. You're a lawyer. Your argument is it's very simple. Like burden of proof is on y'all. Like
yep,
that's it. It's simple. Burden of proof is on you. You are making a hefty fucking claim. People are literally claim you're gonna kill someone just by
yep,
being outside and breathing without a fucking mask on. Prove it. You're
yep,
making the accusation. You prove it. And until you prove it to me that I am, in fact, even remotely going to kill somebody in any way, shape, or form, which you'll never prove, obviously.
mm-hmm,
So, therefore, because you're the one making the accusation, you're the one scared, you're the one putting these allegations, but have zero proof. Therefore, I will do whatever the fuck I want.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you stay home if you're fucking scared. That's it.
Exactly.
It's
Yep,
so it's that simple, literally. And any fucking no court, you could take it to a court of law. No, that's the only sound, logical way of viewing it. You cannot go around here telling people you're going to kill someone. And
mm-hmm,
because I just think maybe possibly you might could kill someone, I'm going to take away your right, take
yep,
away your freedom because you might, maybe, probably could, might, maybe, and I'm scared.
yep,
How the fuck can anybody with a logical brain cell in their fucking head think that that's okay and that that's how it should be? So the fact that so many people did, and even when this is explained to them as such, they still can't seem to comprehend it.
yep,
And that, to me, out of everything, is often the most troubling thing, because sometimes I just question, you know, whether or not all people have the mental capacity. I mean, we have to assume, of course, not even assume. We know people are born with all types of different characteristics and
yep,
attributes and
yep,
features, and not just physical, mental, emotional, all of that. So the same way that, I wasn't born with the genetics to be Michael Jordan.
mm-hmm,
I can't be 6'6" and athletic the way he is. So we'd have to assume that not everybody is necessarily born with the mental capacity to be a Nikola Tesla, for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're not also born to even be able to be thinkers like you and I are, you
Yep.
know? And the
Makes
more
sense.
experience I get, the longer I do this, the more I feel like that's the case with maybe a lot of people, a lot, maybe even the majority of all people. And some would say that those are the NPCs, right?
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But I
it's a
think so. And that in a way just that sometimes concerns me just because it's really hard to gauge like what is tipping point? Like what cuz it's a numbers game ultimately. It is.
absolutely.
We just
Yep.
need enough people like us on our side to tip the scales. How but the questions are how many? How much is enough? How many people do we need? What is critical mass, right? When do the scales tip in our favor? How many people? And then when you think of that, you think, well, shit, what if, there aren't even that many people capable of getting to that point, right?
Very
Because
true.
they're all
Yeah.
NPCs. So when I think of it like and there's no real way to gauge it, then it's like, damn, man, maybe we're doomed.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes too. I do wonder, and because sometimes I see people, I talk to people, and they're very conscious. They're doing the work on themselves. They get what's going on. And then I talk to other people, and they think everything's just going fine, and the way things are, they think that there's a need for government. And then I just like, wow. So I get your. Sometimes you get a little discouraged, but I keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to
Oh
stop, and
yeah.
I'm glad. You
Listen,
know,
I'll laugh about it. You see, I said it. I said it while I was with a little giggle
yeah,
because to me at this point, like, sure, of course, I hope for the best and
yep,
ultimately want the best, but that's not even why I fight anymore. It started, when I started, things were more um, like result orientated. Like, I
mm-hmm.
was just naive in the beginning, not naive, but just like, oh, we're gonna change the world. It's gonna at
Yeah,
this point, I still feel that way, and not just we're going. Because I view it differently. I am changing the world
yep,
one person at a time through my music and my message. Even though it's not worldwide revolution, rah rah rah, like what I maybe had envisioned at times and hoped for. Nonetheless, we are changing the world. So but to me, ultimately, I just am at a point where it doesn't matter. I many years ago, because I used to struggle with it. I used to struggle with it, to be honest, bro. Like I'm fam. It's not because it's with me. It's not just the music, dog. I'm not even on social media like that anymore. But I was heavy. Like I'd say I was also a social media activist for
mm-hmm.
many years. Like I was heavy on social media, bro, debating everybody,
Yep,
debates, back and forth. I mean, I'm talking thousands over the years and I was heavy into that. And then it just everything became so much, and it just seemed so bleak, and constantly dealing with just people who couldn't seem to get it.
right.
Even sometimes, like people within our community, there may be a disagreement and a debate ensues, and I'm like, I'll break it down, and they just go off on some whole other shit. Like,
Right.
it just
Yeah.
is like, damn, even in our community, there was so much. So anyway, I just got to a point where I really was like, man, what's the point? Almost, like, what the fuck? Just really feeling like it was futile and feeling a sense of defeat and just hopelessness and like, man, I don't know. But I asked myself, and I think this is something that every activist, revolutionary, whatever you want to, however you want to label it, you know what I mean. I think everyone should ask themselves this at some point, and it's like, well, worst case scenario, I could see the future right now, and shit never gets better ever. It only gets worse. What are you gonna do right now? You know for a fact we're doomed. What do? You lay down, you die, you quit. I'm still fucking fighting.
Me
I'm
too.
still gonna do what I do. Win, lose, or draw. The end result does not matter to me anymore because it's so much deeper than that.
Yep.
It's being a good person and doing the right thing in my way. Doesn't mean
Yep.
everybody has to be a rapper, activist, whatever. but we can all be a good person and do the right thing
I
always.
agree because it's the right thing to do.
That's
That's
it.
what I always tell people, and I love how you said that, deep. That maybe you're not a rapper, maybe you don't do interviews like I do. Everybody's got a talent. I will always stand by that. Everybody listening is good at something, and you just have to find a way to take this message that we're talking about and put it into what you're good at and get it out there. I've seen people do it with music like you do. Seen people do it with podcasting, with dance, with art. That's how we're going to tip these scales. It's
Oh yeah,
we all have this talent, and we just have to get the message right and and put it out there is what we need more people doing, I think.
definitely. And in addition to that, just being the message, being the change, just being a good
Yes.
person, right?
Yep.
Because everybody could do that, talent or no talent.
That's
Doesn't
true.
cost you anything. You don't need talent. You don't need skill. Just be nice, be kind, right? Like, here's a good way to open people's minds to something like natural law, for example, right? And just freedom and things of this nature is you just be a really nice person. Always be kind and polite and cheerful to people and, make conversation, make people feel seen and respect them, respect
Hmm.
their boundaries, give them, if they speak, listen, really listen to understand. And at some point, those people, the people in your life, the people, it's anybody. It could be the cashier at the store you visit frequently. It could be a relative. It could be a girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, sibling, whatever. But at some point, somebody's probably gonna be like, "Yo, you're so nice and like just a good person." And maybe they'll be inquisitive, or it'll give you an opportunity to say, "Yeah, it's because I follow natural law."
Yeah.
You know, it's because I believe that everyone has a right to freedom, to liberty, to love for themselves. I'm not here to judge anybody, to judge what they do and how they live, as long as they're not hurting any other sentient beings,
Hmm.
right? So it's because that's really, I mean, that to me is such a powerful form of activism. Because if you can genuinely, because here's the thing, so many people talk revolution, politics, natural law, all of these things, right? But then I'm certain many of them are just not very nice people
Yeah.
in real life. And that, it's not going to do you any favors in trying to get people to embrace your ideology
That's
and your
true.
philosophies. It's
Yep.
not. They're just going to look at you like a pretentious douchebag, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like, look at this cat talking about this and that, but they're not even nice. They're not even a nice person, you know?
Yeah. You have
So
to
the
live it.
best
You
way
have
is,
to live it. Yeah.
yeah. And it's not, people think, oh, you don't gotta be rah rah. We're gonna Nah, yo, chill. You
Yeah.
don't gotta do that either. Like, sure, there's a time and a place for that, but just in your everyday life, the real way to live it is just being kind. You know how
Yeah.
many great people I've met and like-minded people just by being nice.
It's
One of my
very
one of
true.
my one of my great friends now here, he's originally from Germany. He's retired now, but he basically left Germany and came here where I am in Europe, um, because of COVID. He was like, "Fuck this shit," and the man worked his whole life. And a big important lesson of this is financial freedom is important, whether we like it or not. We live in this fucking grid
It's true.
where you
Yeah.
don't, if you're broke, you're even more of a slave. Believe that. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. More money, this, don't you don't gotta school me about it. I know everything about the monetary system and
Yep.
fiat currency and inflation. I know how all of it works. And I know that the dollar is shit and it's not real and all of this. But guess what is real? Food and shelter and bills
Exactly.
and living in this fucking system,
Yep.
unless you really want to put your balls to the fucking wall and don't worry about none of that shit. Get off the grid, be totally live in wilderness, or I don't know, fucking don't pay for anything, steal all your stuff and go to war with the government and shoot it out with the police.
Yep.
Otherwise you're living in fucking la la land. We need money. And the more money you have, of course, by only ethically acquired. I no matter what it is, I do not condone or support people making money by unethical means.
Right.
I
I
don't. I
agree.
don't. But ethically, if you're doing something, especially independently, on your own, you're making whatever it is. Hey, you need it. We need it. And it allows you, like this man, my friend from Germany, who was able to straight up move, leave the country. He came here, bought a crib. He's set up now. He said, fuck you guys. I don't like what you're doing with your tyranny. I'm out. I'm leaving. Right. So, and
Mm-hmm.
him, point of all of this is, but that to me, that's a big thing. Like that shows the power of having money compared to not. If he didn't have money, he'd literally be stuck in a way more oppressive situation.
Yep.
Now, where I'm at, it's not, it certainly ain't fucking Anarchyville, right? It's not, it ain't Freedom Town, but it's better than Germany. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
there's still levels to it. So he was able to escape that. You're broke, you're more of a slave. Get that through your head.
Yep.
That's all. Now, I say all of that mainly to say to that this man, right, the German guy, the way that I met him, and he's such a great guy and been such a good friend, is just by being a nice person. I was at the gym. You know, it's a small place I live in. I know most of the people come to the gym, and I could just tell that this guy wasn't from there and kind of was new to the place. So I just went over and said, "Hey, how's it going? Where you from?" You know what I mean? Just a simple act
Yep.
as small as that, which most people won't do. As simple and small as it is, 99% of people probably won't go and just approach a random stranger and be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
But it made his day. And sure enough, he starts telling me, oh, you know, he's telling me his story, how he left the country because of COVID. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, have you heard about like the WF? I'm like, my brother, you came to the right place.
Right on.
I'm like, let me tell you. And sure enough, I mean, I show him my music. He's blown away. He's like, oh man, you know, has become a huge fan as well. But so point is, just something as simple as that, bro. Just being a nice person, it could lead to meeting amazing, like-minded people. You
I
never know.
agree.
You never
I've met
know.
so
But
many, I'm like
worst
you,
case
I've met so many
scenario,
great people. Yep.
yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, you know, you're you're gonna feel good. Even if
Yeah.
it's not reciprocated, even if you don't meet anybody, even if you're not able to make a profound fucking, you know, statement about freedom and natural rights and things like that, you're just gonna feel better about yourself and life in general by
Absolutely.
just being nice and kind and
That's what I
courteous.
that's what I tell people on my show all the time, D. I'm like, you have to start get out and meet people. Like especially people in your community. It amazes me in the neighborhood that I live in that most of the people don't know each other. And I'm like, we're in this
Yeah,
community together. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like you, I'll go out and talk to people. I love going and going face to face. I'm old school. I want to meet people face to face, sit down, talk with
the
them.
best way, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I do it. I love technology because after all, it's making this happen. I met you through using technology,
No
so I
doubt.
it's got its place. But you have to get out and meet people and be kind to people and interact with people, and we're losing that. That's another thing that they're taking away by keeping people separated. It's crazy how they're attacking us on all these fronts. But that's what I saw during COVID was a further separation of people, and they're kind of keeping everybody separated, arguing, and not getting to know each other. And I just keep telling people, like, if we want to get out, especially like you were saying, the monetary system, I
Yeah,
agree. I tell people this isn't an easy solution. We're part of this world and it runs on money. You need it. And I agree 100% what you said. If you have it,
yeah.
it helps. If you don't have it, you're even more enslaved to the system. I agree. I love the barter system. I think that that's a great thing if you can make it work, but you have to get out and meet people and start interacting in your community and
Yeah,
taking
man.
part in things. It's very important.
Yep. And something that is, a good thing. It certainly ain't gonna, you know, change the whole world. But
No, but
when
it's
we
at the
buy, when
start.
we yeah, but you know, when we're purchasing, like you said, getting to know your community, but also that involves buying locally, as much as possible,
Absolutely. Yep.
which is great. Where I live, small country, small town, it's so easy. Like there's a big marketplace where all the locals bring their own produce and
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's wild, man.
Very cool.
I used to not be crazy about this place, to be honest, many years ago when I first came. But now, man, like when I see how what the West is, what America in particular really has kind of become with just everything. I mean, certainly the left is the kind of leftist liberal agenda is crazy, but the right as
Hmm.
well. Just the whole, it's a shit show. It's
It is.
literally, I said with Donald Trump, and that's when it started really to be a reality show, and that's really all it is. And that's how the world looks at it. I'm out of there, so I see and I know how people over here in Europe view it. It's a joke, man. It's a joke
Absolutely.
politically.
Yep.
It's now with Biden, nobody fucking takes it seriously. I mean, it's
And
just it's insane, bro. And here it's still I'm an Eastern European, bro, so it's still pretty, I'd say, old school, more traditional values.
nice.
Like um
Very
I don't,
cool.
I don't mind personally, of course, like I say in the new song, hey,
I,
trans people,
we got
whatever.
to talk about that. Yeah, I want
Yeah,
let's bring that up to wrap this up because I don't want to keep you too much longer. You've been
yeah,
so gracious, D, with your time. I hope you'll come back.
no,
You're always welcome to come on the
sure
show.
thing.
God,
I
I
will
just
definitely.
really enjoy this and appreciate and so thankful that you've taken the time. But definitely, let's do that. Let's tell everybody about new song, new video, what it's about, what
Yeah,
inspired you to write it. The whole give us the goods, D.
okay, sure. Thanks, bro. Bipartisan, obviously, but I spelled it bipartisan, just like a little play on words. But anyway, it's just shitting on both political parties for the most part.
It's awesome.
Because fuck them both. It's all government, fuck all that shit. As just to put it so as eloquently as I can. But the song obviously gets into it and breaks it down. And what I was saying beforehand that prompted you to think of the song, obviously, was the trans the part of the song where I'm going in on the trans issue. And
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, it's like I'm for human rights. That's it. I don't. You could if you're a human being. If you're matter of fact, if you're a sentient being, I don't human, animal, whatever. You identify as whatever the fuck you want to identify as. Do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
I don't care. I'm not bothered. Congratulations.
Hmm.
Just don't turn around and tell me that I now have to do something in accordance to your new identity and personhood and persona and whatever the fuck else you want to call it. For whatever reasons, it's real, it's fake, it's mental illness. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Do you, and I'm going to do me.
Yep.
That's it. As soon as you start telling me I need to call you this and call you that, no, I don't. And if you're petitioning for the law, for the government to make it some type of a criminal offense, a hate crime, for me to not call you him, zim, zim, zay, zay, then you, my friend, are a fucking Nazi.
Yep.
And you, my friend, are a fucking fascist, are a fucking snitch, are a fucking bootlicking status, and I cannot fuck with you at all. And it
Yep.
has zero to do with the fact that you're trans or this or that. It's the fact that you are a fucking status scumbag,
Yep.
that you want to try to get people in trouble in some type in possible physical harm or in physical enslavement with the biggest gang in the world because your feelings get hurt. Because that's all it is. I've
Yep.
caused you no harm, no physical harm, no threat, no anything. So that's when it just gets crazy. And of course, with the kids, like, come on, come on. It's too much. It's too much. I don't give a fuck. Call me transphobic. Great. Congratulations. That means nothing to me. Because guess what? Unlike y'all, those are just words to me. They don't
Yep.
bother me. You
Yeah.
call me whatever the fuck you want, because it ain't gonna
Yep.
change who I am. Because I know who I am. I don't need you to honor my name and my this, and I don't give a fuck. Call me whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me, because I am who I am. That's not gonna change, and that's how they should fucking approach it too. But no,
Yep.
So point is, I don't care though. I genuinely do not care. I'll treat any human being as a human being. Do what you want to do. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like you or fuck with you or even respect you on a personal level.
Hmm.
But I'll always respect you as a human being and your right to exist and be free and do what you want to do and express yourself as however you see fit. So, but the reason I even brought all of that up really was just to say that I was talking about how it's rather traditional values here where I live and stuff. Like there ain't none, that trans shit ain't sliding over here, bro. That
Wow.
shit is not. They still don't really even fully rock with gay people like that out here, bro. They
So,
not really
okay.
they ain't which I'm not for that either. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
that's because I'm consistent in my shit. Like whatever, let there be gay people. Let the like over here it's the type of vibe, bro, where they've had like gay marches, I think, and they need like police escort and shit. You know what I mean? Like people will still try to physically harm them, which is fucked up.
Right.
It's that ain't right either.
Exactly.
That's the other extreme end of the spectrum, right?
Yep.
Um, but point is, I don't, even though I don't like certain things like that, I do now that I'm, who I am, I do appreciate this place a bit more because of just other aspects of it, how it's smaller and more traditional and more neighborly and just it's just a totally different vibe, man. It's totally
That's
different.
cool.
And when I see what's going on in America, like even with the whole COVID shit, like they had masks over here in the beginning for a little bit. That shit got lifted, and honestly, there was no. They did vax here. People got vaxxed, but nobody cared, bro. Nobody asked you, "Are you getting vaccinated?" It wasn't a big fucking debate. It wasn't no coercion. Nobody wasn't losing no damn jobs. It was none of that, bro. Here, none of that.
Wow. Okay. That's
None
it.
of that.
That's
Nah, they
really
only had masks for a little bit, and the vax came in. People got it who wanted to get it.
end of
They had lifted
story.
the
Yep.
mask, and honestly, at this point, you'll still see people with masks on, but other than that, it's as if it never was, bro. I mean, it's as
Wow.
if it never was. People like, for example, just this past summer, hell, I think even summer before that, but this past summer, 2022, because it's a tourist destination. We're on the coast here, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of tourists come, bro. Beaches jam packed. I'm talking about 1,000 people on the beach, just right next to each other. Nobody ain't wearing no damn masks, no nothing like that. Like, because it hit me. I was like, damn, look at all those people, and I'm like, yo, that's dope though. Fuck that COVID shit. Like, I
Exactly.
seeing people like it ain't for me. Don't get me wrong. I ain't trying to be packed in with all those people myself, but seeing them like that is cool.
I
Just because
agree.
they're free, they're out. They
Yep.
could do what they want. So yeah, it's stuff like that over here is cool, man. We definitely still have our issues, and it's still obviously government. So
That's what.
you
Yeah.
know
Exactly.
yeah, but again, there are levels to it, right? There's levels to everything. And just like why my boy came from Germany here and why other people have come from other places and even a lot of American people come back to live here that are originally from here like myself. And because bro, it's different.
That's
It's
what we
definitely
need. It
different.
sounds great, actually.
Yeah,
Good.
and it's
Canada
pretty
isn't
and
too
it's
bad.
relatively cheap to live.
That's
Like,
cool too. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
bonus. Because I mean, Canada was we went through not as bad as some places, but it was pretty. We went through our moments where it was pretty bad, with the mask and all of the stuff that we were just talking about. It had, but there was definitely
Oh
worse
yeah, what?
places.
Canada was what, bro? I didn't
Yeah,
realize you were in Canada. I thought you was on the East Coast somewhere.
no,
Where are you in
Canada.
Toronto?
Nah, close. I'm about 2 hours from Toronto.
Okay, yeah, because my man Smitty, I don't know if you've, because he raps too. He's on a bunch of stuff with me. I don't.
Yeah,
You may have
yeah,
come across some of my stuff with Smitty.
yeah.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there near Toronto as well. I forgot exactly where, but and I was genuinely worried about him, bro. Like I was for a period there when Canada was just going when they was going crazy with that shit, bro. I was
Yep.
worried about that man because he works at a school, like not at a school, he works in a cafeteria, but he works
Mm-hmm.
for like a food service company and they just run the cafeteria. And he was really feeling like, man, he might really just not be able to get a job at all, work anywhere if he does, especially at the school for sure. But then he was thinking like anywhere if he doesn't get vaxxed.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, bro. Like it was really becoming a dilemma. Like, what is my guy gonna do? Like, just
It
leave
was
the
crazy.
country or what? Because again, there we go again, back to the financial freedom. Like, if I told him, bro, if you have money and you could just come over here, dog, like buy a ticket, come over, you got money, you
Yeah.
could stay here. But he didn't have money like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but luckily it worked out. Thankfully it worked out. He didn't have to get vaxxed and all that shit. But it was
It, wa-
scary. It
it
was like,
was.
it was and so many people had to. They didn't have to. Of course, they did not have to,
That's what I say.
technically.
Yep.
Um, and that's of course the oh well you still have a choice. No, that's not a choice. That's coercion. That's it's not a choice. It's an ultimatum.
Hey,
It's
that's what I said. Exactly. The big difference. There's a
yeah,
big difference between an ultimatum and coercion. Like,
yeah. It's not a choice at all. But
no.
it's not a fair choice, right? That's the real thing. Because technically, you do have a choice. You do. You can
Mm,
say no, and you can lose everything, lose your job, lose your family, whatever, right?
yep.
Whatever your situation may be. So technically, in the most literal sense, yes, it is a choice. But the point is, when the person, entity, or whatever is presenting you with this choice, the question is it fair and just? That's all that matters. So what? A choice. I could fucking oh, do you want me to shoot you in the head or stab you in the nuts?
Yep.
Oh, well, you got a choice.
Yep.
It's cool. You got a choice, man. Hey, everybody, he has a choice. I'm gonna kill him, but he has a choice.
Yep.
So it's just ridiculous, right? Again, it's all about being a good person, god damn it, because a good person is not going to give you a shitty choice, a dishonest, disingenuous, shitty, lopsided, favored in their way choice.
Yep.
A good person, a fair and just person is going to give you a fair and just choice, good options. That's a choice.
Absolutely.
So that's all that matters in these situations. And it
Yeah.
always come back to do the right thing. You know what the right thing is. Ain't nobody gonna sit up there and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm about to I'm about to trick this person and scam them. I'm gonna give them a choice, but one way or another, the choice is gonna favor me, and it's gonna not favor them, and it's gonna be in my benefit only." Nobody thinks that is right and okay. Only seriously people who are psychopaths, sociopaths, who have like really, but forget that. Most people aren't in those categories, and nobody is gonna think that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
people do not but we will lie to ourselves. We will justify. We will make excuses. We will do anything we can to not have to change our behavior and change our ways and get uncomfortable and admit that we're wrong to begin with,
That's a
because
big
that's
one.
ego
Yep.
death. That's so uncomfortable. That's so difficult,
Yep.
right? But we have to
I
do all
agree.
these things,
So many
man.
people are in that ego state. D, you're so right. And you're God, you're saying so much amazing things that are so true.
Thanks,
You're
bro.
just really and it comes down to, like you said, just being a good person. It's so simple when you really, like you said, boil it down. and people just have to realize that. But they have to, and they people do know right from wrong. Well, they should. I mean, I've asked people. I don't know if you ever done that experiment. Mark Passio always said, like, go and ask somebody, go like talk to people in the street and ask them if they could give you the definition of what a right is. I took that challenge, and the people I asked, they could not give me the correct definition of what a right was. And it kind of was an eye-opening moment for me. I was like, wow, no wonder we're losing our rights. Half the people I'm talking, most of the people I talk to don't even know what a right is. People have to get educated, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I took that challenge. I'm like, I'm going to go ask people, what is a right? Give me the working definition of a right. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. It was
I
most of
bet.
the,
I
they're
bet
saying it was what
everybody.
government said.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I
Yeah,
bet most answers involved government in some type of way.
every, exactly. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And I was just like, wow. So
Not surprised.
it
No.
does. Yeah. It's not surprising at all. It shows the level of brainwashing that we're under, and people have to become aware what's going on. So I think it's great advice, D. Before I let you go, like, what do you got cooking? Like, I know you just released a new
Oh,
video, a new song.
yeah, definitely.
What's coming up in the future? Are you doing any touring? Like, let the floor is yours, man. What can people? What do you got
All
going on? Where can they
right.
find you?
Yeah. No touring anytime soon. But always music coming out, music in the works. Just lots of new music. I'll just put it like that, man. It's gonna be at this point. I'm gonna start putting out, get back to my kind of usual schedule of releasing like once a month. Maybe every
Wow.
once in a while I'll sneak in a maybe two a month, but generally I'm just sticking to one a month. Gonna have some big tracks with some big music videos. I'm actually heading out of country here next week. I'm gonna
Oh,
be out
awesome.
of the country gonna be in the Czech Republic for 2 months over there working and organizing a big show that I'm gonna be planning out there for August. So, now I'm in Europe, bro. So most of my stuff is around Europe anyway, which I don't know what your fan base is and your listener base, if there are any in Europe, but
Mm-hmm.
if so, you could at some point I'll be venturing out and doing more shows but for now I mostly hit up the Czech Republic. I got a lot of fans out there and a lot of colleagues, other rappers,
Nice.
people that I work with. So, but other than that, bro, just putting out music consistently. That's it, man. That's my thing. That's what I do. I've done a lot of things, YouTube videos, podcasts, so on and so forth. All of it inconsistently. I fall off the map. I can't, man. I can't. I got too much. Like for that, I would need a team. You know what I'm saying? Like I would
Yeah.
need other people to
Yep.
do shit for me. For music, I'm a machine, bro. I could do it all on my own. I could do it. I remain consistent. It's my thing I'm most passionate about. I love doing it. It's my full time at this point. It's my full time job. I don't call it a
Mm-hmm.
job, it's silly, but it's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just
That's
music,
amazing.
man. More than anything, just music. Everybody, if you're listening, if you're interested, Spotify, YouTube, those are my main platforms. Just DISL Automatic. You see it how it's spelled on the screen or wherever else. DISL
Yep.
Automatic.
I'll make
Um,
sure I leave links in the
you know what I mean?
description too.
I
Yeah.
got a big cat. Like I'll tell you this: if you go and I know how it is. I'm sure you would like how you describe. If somebody likes this content and they go and they listen to one of my songs and you like the music, oh, you're in for a treat
Oh
because
yeah.
then you're
Yeah.
gonna have 100 plus songs to catch up on and keep you
Yep.
occupied with, right? Because I got an extensive catalog at this point. So yeah, go
It's
check it out.
huge. Yeah.
I think it's not for everybody, of course. Obviously, it's art is music and art is subjective and it is what it is. It ain't even some people might like the content, but just be like, I can't really vibe off of it like that, and that's okay. I'm not a sensitive. I get it. Obviously, not everybody's gonna like it, but I would appreciate it if everybody at least gave it a chance.
Oh, exactly. I did, and I'm so glad I did, D. I mean, the message you do is so powerful that all the stuff you write about. I couldn't believe it, and you're right. When I first started, I got somebody sent me a couple songs, the Natural Law song, your Natural Law song,
Oh
and
yeah, with Joe Murray. Big up
yeah,
Joe Murray.
yeah, Joe Murray, awesome. I hope to get
Yeah.
him on for an interview too. I'm trying to set that up.
Yeah.
And it is a big catalog. Like when I've listened to a couple songs, that was nice. I gotta go check out some more. And wow, you've been doing a lot of work, and I think that's amazing that you're doing one a month. I could write a song in a year. I don't think so. The fact that you're able to do one a month or more than one a month is amazing. What about albums? Are you going to be doing another album soon? Like any, or, or just going
Well,
to be doing like
actually,
song by song?
now for now singles, but Joe Murray and I actually were almost done with a joint project, a joint EP, like the one that I just dropped
Yep.
with SA Universal. So it'll be I think the same actually, 6 songs, I believe.
Wow.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, and it's big, bro, because Joe Murray is fucking dope, and it's all
Agreed.
mine and his beats. We produced the whole thing, obviously wrote everything, came up with it all, and it's like this previous project, Pneumatic Sovereignty, was more
Yep.
of like more musical. I just was lot of melodies and harmonies, and both of us kind of singing and rapping, and but still the message, of course. Whereas this project with Joe is more just smash mouth fucking hardcore, mainly just
Nice.
hardcore rap shit, political, just smashing them in the head.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
that I don't have an exact release date for, but it'll be this year at some point. And then yeah, after that, possibly. See, an album is tricky for me because to me, I haven't put out an actual album. To me, an album is a full length project. So in the music business, it's called an LP, right?
Yep.
What I just
Yep.
put out, 6 songs, is an EP. EP is extended play. LP is limited play. It seems
Yep.
counterintuitive. It seems like
It
the
does.
shorter one should be limited play, right?
Yep.
But it's not. So, but for me, an album is a thing that I feel like I haven't put out an album yet. I've put out mixtapes, I've put out compilations, I put out EPs. But to me, I haven't put out an album because to me, an album is something that I want to like really just sit down, take a few months. When I'm at a point where I could I put out enough music now and mon- uh, monetarily as well, where I can just sustain some time to myself
That's
without
true.
having to put out more music, and I could sit maybe 3 months and just work on an album. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a
Yes.
whole different creative
No
process to
distractions.
just
No
sitting and saying,
distractions.
let me make maybe a concept to it, have a underlying story throughout the whole album, something, or just really sitting with the intention, as opposed to now the way that I mainly do my music, bro, is I just do song by song. It's
Hmm.
just on an individual basis. Boom, I make a beat, I get inspired by it, I rock it. So then if I were to do, so now I might do a solo project at the end of this year, but it'll be more of a compilation because it'll be songs that I kind of just came up individually as singles.
Okay.
But let me just put them all, there's 10 of them, 15, whatever. Let me just put them all on a project just
Yeah.
for the sake of making it easier, putting it all out at once. But an actual album, I would want to really like just sit there and
Total
like, I don't
focus.
know. To me, it's a lot of, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on it too, because I feel like an album is like different. Like an album really, because that's the way we grew up. It was always like you could do mixtapes and whatever, but your album, like that's
Yeah.
the shit that is supposed to be a masterpiece of some sort.
Yeah.
Not just the compilation, regardless of how good the songs may be, you just throw them all together. That ain't it. An album should have an intro, maybe skits in between it. Like I said, a concept, a theme, everything tying together, possibly. Like it has to be a bigger thing to me. And I would really need to take at least a few months to just focus in and do an album. So, anyway,
It's
point of
coming
the story
someday.
is I got tons of music coming. There's gonna be projects, EPs, compilations, whatever. It's just gonna be music. In the
Awesome.
end of the day, I realized, bro, that's what I knew always that's what I do best. But I also realized it's my most effective way of spreading the message. It's what people like the most from me. So why should I spend time on videos and podcasts and all this other stuff when I could just put all that time into doing the thing that is most effective and that people seem to enjoy the most and that I
Yeah,
enjoy doing the most as well.
makes
So
total
that's it,
sense.
bro. I'm just like a fucking music machine. That's it.
I love it.
If anybody listening, you just want hardcore, consistent, good quality still, it's not like I'm just putting out crap. Bro, if I did mainstream rap, like just rapping about bullshit, I could probably put a song out a day. I could probably put,
No
I could
doubt. Yeah,
literally probably come up with those dumbed down lyrics in minutes and
yeah.
just lay it and put out a song a day, at least a song every week for sure. So, but this
A little
does,
harder when you're covering these topics, though. When you're talking about
yeah,
natural law, that
exactly.
there's some more thought that's going to go into this.
Exactly. More thought
Yeah.
goes into it, a lot more thought.
Oh,
I mean, listen,
absolutely.
sometimes I say like writing a rap, like some of my raps, I feel like not even when I'm coming up with them, but when I sit back afterwards at some point and listen to them, sometimes I'm like, damn, that's like damn, like I just can't, like I just basically came up with like a term paper for a college, like
Yeah.
like a thesis paper or some shit, but put it in rhyme form and on a beat, and it sounds dope. But it's like that level of thought that went into it, and just knowledge just packed into some of my shit that I can't lie. I mean, I do sometimes, especially I'll go back. My thing is like I'll record and make the song when I'm sober, and then I'll sit back with a joint and get high
Mm-hmm.
and I listen. I hear it differently, and sometimes I'm like I hear it as if I'm not myself.
That makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
when it hits me like damn, like I'm hearing it as if it was like I heard it for the first time from somebody else. And not every song that I make, but sometimes I'm just like, man, there's so much knowledge in that. That shit is
There
so deep.
is in one song.
And it
Yeah.
rhymes and sounds good. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Powerful. Like, I mean,
It's
and I tell
wild.
everybody, yeah, I got all my friends listening to you now. Like, I was like, you got to hear this. You got to hear DISL Automatic. I mean, the music, it's everything that we talk about, and he puts it into a song. You kind of condense it because I mean, it's a big topic when you start learning about natural law and all of that.
Yeah,
But you do a great job of bringing these important issues and topics and putting in an amazing beat, amazing singing. Like, it's a great package. I love it. I really do.
thanks, bro.
And
Appreciate it. Really means a lot.
I'm just honored that you took the time to come and talk to me about this. I was so excited for this. Can people get merch? Do you have a website that I can put
Yeah,
on in the
yeah, I do.
description?
You can, yeah, getbigonthem.com is
Get
where
big.
you can
Okay.
find pretty much everything. Got
Show
my
your
music.
support.
Yeah. So get big on them.
Make
On
sure I leave that in there.
not them. Get big on MEM
Okay,
dot
get
com.
big on M. All right, I'll make sure I leave that in the description too, so you guys can go check out his merchandise. Show some support, guys. I know, like I said, hopefully you don't get any more of your stuff taken, by Spotify or these other places. Like some of your music has been flagged and taken down. Which I was watching a couple
Wow.
of your interviews, like a couple of your videos about you were talking about that, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, not just even the taken down is one thing, but honestly, I feel worse than that because like Spotify took my song down, but I don't see that it has impacted me in their algorithms at all. Like
Okay,
my Spotify still does really well, grows on a nice upward trajectory
nice.
exponentially. So, but YouTube is fucked, bro, because
Well,
YouTube, even if they don't
that's
take
true.
your shit down, bro, my shit's always been shadow banned and censored. Instagram too. Instagram, that's all. But just YouTube, my other main platform for music, it's a like I know, I know that it does not, the algorithm does not favor me at all.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, and I'm sure I'm shadow banned. It's listen, same with Instagram. I'm sure YouTube is the same. They shadow ban people. If other people are reporting your page or channel regularly, they're gonna shadow ban you. It's
yeah.
it's fucked up because any hater could do it. Anybody could do it. But that's how they work.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I didn't even, before I started even doing this, I didn't even like, I thought people, I would hear talk about shadow banning, and I'm like, that can't really be a thing. Like, they must just be making excuses why their videos are doing good. And then when you get into doing this, you do
Yeah.
realize that they do shadow ban and not
Oh yeah,
promote
for
your
sure.
stuff. Like, I get people, I don't even get their notifications. I'm sub to their channels, never get notifications when they have workout.
Yeah. Listen, just by default, that there's this silly fucking algorithm, this silly little, what is it? The fuck it? What's the point? It's a game. What is it? Like, why they literally broke something that did not need
Yeah.
fixing. I mean, they tried to change it, make it like social media was great, was amazing in the organic days. Bro, I was like a early, pretty big, relatively big page on Instagram at one point. Facebook too, bro. I got because Facebook was my first platform that I
Mm-hmm.
really used. I got over 10,000 fans on my Facebook fan page. To this day, I got
Wow.
it, but they mean nothing to me. They mean nothing.
Right.
Literally, it mean I don't even care. I'll post to my fan page. That's it. It gets minimal like, minimal views, minimal anything, any interaction. Because of course, Facebook changed the algorithms way many years ago to make it more advertiser
Mm-hmm.
based. It's all about money, right?
Yep.
So I then left Facebook pretty much and went to Instagram. And on Instagram, I amassed a quick following, especially because I'm vegan, of course. And I had put out a vegan rap song that went
Yep.
viral. I'm a vegan. And
That's
that
a great song.
really skyrocketed my YouTube actually got a huge surge of subscriptions, new subscribers. But my Instagram really skyrocketed, and then I just kept the momentum. Man, I was getting like, at one point I was getting like 1,000 new followers a day. I got to about 22,000 followers on the same profile now. That's now at 14,000.
Jeez.
So what happened was, Facebook bought Instagram, algorithm, censorship, bullshit, and then of course too, because what my whole thing was, my plan that I had was, I went vegan, and when I went vegan and started talking about veganism and things of that nature, and lost a lot of fans, and non-vegans, and just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I gained a lot of vegan fans, a lot of new vegans. But I knew from jump, like, most are like just kind of left liberal, not really too hip to what's really going on. Like, a lot of them coming thinking I'm just a vegan. They just coming from my vegan shit, like, not knowing, you know, I,
What else you're about?
yeah, like, vegan at that point, especially, I wasn't even that deep. When I put that video out, I was maybe 3 years, I think, a vegan, something like that, right? So I've been a deeper activist for everything much longer than that. But nonetheless, like, so I knew, I'm like, I'm gonna have to school these vegans, but like, I'm bringing a lot of them in, and I'm gonna keep bringing them in, and just grow the following as much as possible. But
Mm-hmm.
they're definitely gonna, when I feel like hitting them with some real truth and facts, like whether something maybe happens, a big headline that I feel like, okay, I got to speak on this and make a point about it, just to make the point about freedom or whatever else it is that I stand for. So of course I end up doing that, and then end up pissing a lot of vegans off. So a lot of my it went from 22K to 14K now in a matter of shit 5 years, 5 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of
Should
it was definitely lost followers that just,
right.
I know, I pissed them off, whether it was about veganism or any of my other views. Just cats would follow and unfollow me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think a lot of it too had to do with, Instagram shadow banning me. And again,
Yep.
it was mainly it still had to do with hate, because I'd get shadow banned because these little fucking soft ass hater, little soft ass vegans, especially. Oh man, But I always knew, and that's the funny thing. Like people have this idea about vegans, and I don't fit any of the stereotypes or any of the criteria. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't really fuck with. I tried, and they were good. The vegan community was good to me for a period of time, but as soon as uh as soon as they basically they do what they did. They canceled me in their own world. Like they
Jeez.
couldn't cancel me in real life. But as soon as I started saying shit that they didn't agree with, that they didn't like, that hurt their feelings, a lot of people just can't, aside from just getting the point or whatever, a lot of people can't um agree to disagree and maybe just focus on the things we have in common and let's just stick to that,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. Um So yeah, but point is, man, I've pissed everybody off at some point and lost fans, followers, gained fans, followers. I mean, there's not much that I haven't like seen and experienced as far as like online shit, bro. I've had stalkers online. I've had creepy shit happen. Like I've had people flip out on me, fans straight fucking just curse me out. I can't, bro. Especially earlier in the game for whatever reason, maybe because I was just more active online and social media and would
Hmm.
respond to everybody. But I would see, bro. You know how many people like if I wouldn't respond to them within their amount of time that they deem
Right.
acceptable, right? So
Yep.
I get to the message eventually, maybe after 3 days, and I fully intend on responding to it. But then I
Yep.
see this person has messaged me 4 times, and the last one's like, "Oh, okay, so I thought you were about the people, and you don't even respond to my message. Fuck you, bro." Just all kinds of
That's crazy.
like,
It's like I will get to your message. Just
no,
you
you
know
gotta have
they.
tough skin, bro. Like
Yeah.
you got to have really tough skin to do this shit for as long as I've been doing it and put yourself out there and really deal with. I don't really deal with people too much anymore, to be honest. Because I've gotten myself to a point where, like I said, as long as I'm putting out good quality music consistently,
Yeah.
regularly, that's all. Nobody can really. If anyone expects anything more of me, that's their issue, not mine.
Exactly.
Especially because I give my music for free too, mind you. You can
Yep.
always get my shit for free on my website, getbigontham.com, and on my SoundCloud. I pay. I always say this. I don't care. I pay $10 a month. Not a lot, but nonetheless, it's the point. I pay $10 a month for the SoundCloud feature that allows me to uh, give the option to download my music. So basically, I'm paying $10 a month for people to get my music for free.
Yeah. That.
you
Yeah.
know, because I've always given it out for free, and I always will. Because ultimately, I really do care most about people just hearing it. You just want to
Exactly.
hear it go. I don't care. I got plenty of people that will stream it, that will buy it, that will do all of that. But if you're broke and you can't afford Spotify, or even though Spotify you could get for free, to be honest. But you
Yep.
know what I'm saying? It's all good. Here you go. Download it for free.
The
It's cool.
message. Yeah. The message is what
Yeah,
matters, and
that's it.
that's so cool
Share
of
it.
you.
Hopefully, if you get it for free, at least share it. Pay
Share
it
it out.
forward.
Yeah. Exactly. And show you can buy merch. Show your support a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
Share it out. That's what I do. I share out your videos. I'm telling people about your music. So that's
yeah. No,
definitely
you're
what
the
I
man,
can
bro.
do to
I
help.
appreciate
And
that.
but I'm just to wrap up, I really think that's cool how you were talking about the early days of like the internet and YouTube and stuff. You must have seen such a change in the last amount of years of how the censorship is just really taken over, because I've heard people say similar to what you were just saying, that at one time social media was amazing and YouTube you could
Oh, how
just
long you
be
been on you?
open.
How
I've
long
only
you
been
been on
on
you?
I've been doing this interview and that for a little over a year, but I've been like watching YouTube for a few years. So I wasn't
Okay,
around
okay.
in the
So you,
heyday of
oh
it.
yeah, nah, bro. Yeah, it was totally. Oh man, YouTube was way better. Like it's cool now in a lot of ways. Whatever. Like I'm not. I don't hate it entirely as a platform. Not as an artist. Me as an
Hmm.
artist, but just as a viewer, it's okay. YouTube is all right. But as a user, it was way better. I mean, sure.
I've
Like
heard that.
all
Yeah.
it's okay. the app itself, like the capabilities, the upload speed, all of these things, of course, all of that is better. The technical stuff is better, of
Mm-hmm.
course. But the general layout and the way the platform was, it was more of a social media thing. Like a big reason why I even kind of got a buzz early on and kind of started, I guess you could say, my career at that point was because of the way YouTube was. You could back then you could message people. Like you could go to any channel. You could
I've heard of this.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could just it was social media, bro. Like so I used to go just spam people basically like I'd go this was the early grind, bro. This shit was crazy. I would spend all day. I'd spend all day literally, bro, promoting my shit. I would just be in all the music videos, Immortal Technique, or any of these rappers who had conscious rap or whatever, any video that was like sharing knowledge and anything like that. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I go through the comments, anybody leaving a good comment, like where I could tell, okay, they're into this kind of content, boom, I hit them up, send them a direct message. Because not only could you send a direct message, there was an attachment button that you could automatically attach any one of your videos on your channel
Wow.
directly to the message. Yeah, it
That's
was dope.
amazing. I think
It
that's
was
called, was that the Google Plus? I've heard it called Google
no,
Plus
bro. That was
Days.
just plain old YouTube with the old
Wow.
ass layout. When the layout was totally different, it was like ugly looking, weird looking. Bro, I'm telling you, go you. I'm sure you can find it on
I'm
YouTube
gonna
itself,
look.
like old, from like 2009, 2010.
Wow.
So yeah, bro, I used to do that, and then of course another really cool feature, probably the coolest feature to be honest, was you could mass message your subscribers.
Okay,
Like you
that's
would
really
just make
cool.
one message and just check as many of your, like they had a limit because obviously let's say I got 17,000 subscribers, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do 17,000 messages at once,
Right.
but you do batches of like 1,000 at once or something like that.
Wow.
And
That's
you
so
just
cool.
one generic message, and again with the attachment, any video you want, boom, it goes direct to their message to their, and people used to really check their messages back then because it was like it was social media. YouTube was, people forget that, bro. It wasn't. Now it's just a video platform,
Yep.
video sharing platform. Back then it was legit social media. Like you was checking your messages to see who's hitting you up on YouTube.
That's why would they get rid of that? That sounds
I
so
told you,
amazing.
what did I say? They broke something that was
Yeah.
was actually amazing.
Yeah.
But they did it with every social media, and it all ultimately is in the name of money,
Yeah.
making more revenue
Advertising.
somehow for them. Ads. It all
Yeah.
became about making, because all of these started so dope because they didn't care about money. Think
Mm-hmm.
about it. None of them really cared about monetizing in the beginning. But as soon as all the ads, it fucked everything up.
Yeah, it's kind of reminds me of the music industry too. It's like we're talking about creating your own content and putting your own music out. But if you get a big label behind you, the next thing you know, you got more people telling you what to do, giving their
Yep.
opinions, putting restrictions on you. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it just, yeah, just
Money is, this is something where somebody would say, yeah, see, money fucks shit up, right? Money corrupts, or nah, it's not money. It's just greed.
yeah,
Some people just are greedy, and it's not going to be enough for them. They're going to want more and
more and
more.
more. Yep.
They're going to, like these fucks. You could have just left Facebook the way it was, didn't have to fuck with it. It was amazing. Everybody loved Facebook. Fucked it up. Fucked it up because it
YouTube
wasn't
fucked
enough.
it
You
up.
still be a billionaire. You still be a billionaire. You still be fucking loaded.
Mm-hmm.
But no, no, no. That's not enough. You want more and more and more. And that's not money's fault. Money didn't do that. You know,
Yeah, it's
it's
people
kind of
that
like
don't have morality.
money is the same. It's the same way people treat a gun, right? People leftists especially want to blame guns for the killings that take place.
Mm-hmm.
It's the equivalent of people blaming the money for the greed the shit that happens because of greed, people's greed.
Yep.
Money is just the tool. The gun is just the tool. The gun didn't kill the person. Somebody with a lot of issues killed the person
Killed.
more
Yep.
than likely.
Exactly.
Like,
It's so true. I have that debate with a lot of people about this, especially the gun issue. You know, it's just like, wow, it's not the gun. Like, I've never seen a gun just get up and shoot somebody. You know,
yeah,
it's somebody that's, doing it.
exactly.
Jeez, I tell you. Well, I
Yeah,
tell
man.
you, I could sit here and talk to you for another 2 hours, but I don't want to keep you. I'm so appreciative. As I
Yeah,
was
no, it's
saying,
all good, bro. I really enjoyed it.
me
I
too.
am getting hungry though. I will admit, I am
Me
gonna have
too.
to go
Yeah, it's like,
some
yeah, I'm
dinner.
not usually mobile at this. Like, I'm just starting to usually get up at this hour, but like I said,
Yeah,
I had to get up early for this. You're welcome back anytime, D. I swear. If you ever
yeah,
want to
bro.
promote something,
I'll come back for sure, man. Maybe next time. Are you able to play music?
sure thing. We can do that sometime. That would be
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, maybe maybe at some point I come through and give you something new, something unreleased, exclusive to play. Just
That'd be
just
awesome.
for the heck of it.
Yeah, and then I asked you earlier about Funnel 3, that you said you would definitely
Oh
do up a
yeah, for
song for
sure. We
that.
got time for that though, right? I'm assuming they're not gonna need the track
Oh,
anytime soon.
no, no, yeah, we like I said, it doesn't
Okay.
go till June. So let me
Yeah.
just double check. Yeah, June 24th and June 25th. So you got lots of time to write that up.
Okay. Perfect.
It'll
Yeah.
be, and
I'll
I'll keep in
definitely.
touch with you through
Yeah, we'll
email
be in
and
touch, no doubt, bro. No doubt.
absolutely.
We'll definitely be in touch. Do you use any other messaging platforms besides?
Uh, I have Facebook Messenger, Skype, which you already know you don't have,
Okay, yeah. If anything,
and
hit me up on Facebook. Do you have me on Facebook?
yeah, I can get. I don't. I probably do, but I'll double check, and if not, I'll add you as soon as we're done, so I can definitely
Yeah,
get you on
because my
Facebook.
personal profile on Facebook is D Anderson,
Oh, okay.
Anderson.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
so
that.
you could just add me on
Do
there,
that
bro. And
right
that
now.
way, yeah, hit me up on there because it'd be easier than just through Messenger to chat as opposed to email every time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking of that, or just give you my phone number, or whatever. I was like, I got to make it more easy than email.
Yeah, no, Messenger's good. I was gonna say WhatsApp if you use WhatsApp.
Not yet, but I
Well, it's
will.
all good. Messenger will be just
So
fine.
just D Anderson.
Yeah, D with two E's.
Oh, okay. I would have spelled it wrong already. All right. So let me see. Hopefully, I can do this really quickly while you're here, and I'm not. And then I will have you, and then it'll be way easier to talk to you. I will find you. It'll probably take me a bit.
All right, you might not even be able to type in Diesel Automatic and it might still come up. To be honest,
Yeah, because I don't know. Like, what profile picture do you have?
hell if I know. Let me see right now.
Because I'm like
Uh,
that might help. If not,
it's the one with me and SAU. It's the cover from the last project that I did.
oh, okay, okay, definitely. Okay, I'll get it. Perfect. Yeah, I will definitely find you on there. Don't want to do it now and keep you,
All right,
but
cool,
no,
my
I will
boy.
find you on there, and then that way I can also get you my cell phone number and stuff, and that'll be
Yeah, word
texting
up.
is way easier. So
All right,
awesome,
my
my
brother.
friend.
Well, it's been great, man. It's been dope. Really
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes.
Appreciate the love and support, man. I didn't we didn't have much communication. I figured, obviously, just based off of the communication we did have, that you
Mm-hmm.
were a fan of my music. But it's you never know to what degree. But
Yep.
you definitely, you definitely show a lot of enthusiasm about it, man. And I
I
honestly,
love
like,
it.
that means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I do put so much into it. So I really genuinely, it can't really be conveyed through text on the internet when I
Right.
respond to people. But I really genuinely appreciate when anybody like yourself thinks so highly of my music and my art, man. It's amazing, bro. So I appreciate it. You made my day. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and I appreciate everything you're doing too, D. Keep up the amazing work, bringing out the message that you're doing. It's incredible, and I will definitely be supporting you and keeping in touch and letting people know about your music. I will definitely be doing that for you.
Thank you so much, bro.
You're very
Appreciate it.
welcome. Take care, my friend, and I
We'll
will
link.
definitely
Yeah,
go ahead.
we'll link up. We'll link up again soon, bro. I'm
Absolutely.
like I said, I'm gonna be out of the country. So I'll see. I'm gonna be super busy for the next few months.
I'm so glad we got this done then,
Oh yeah,
because
no, no,
it would have been a
yeah, for
while.
sure. So I might not be able to for the next few months, but once I'm back for sure, bro, for sure.
Perfect, perfect, and, um
If I could sneak in a chance, an opportunity while I'm in the Czech Republic,
Yep,
I'll do it as well. But if not,
awesome.
for sure, bro. When I get back, we're on and popping. I'll come through with some new music. You know, we'll have a kick it session.
Alright, perfect. Thank you so much, D, and have a
All
s
right, bro.
when you go to the Czech, have a safe trip, and,
Thank you.
just keep doing up what you're doing, my friend, because you're kicking ass, and I love it, so thank you so
No
much.
doubt, bro. Appreciate you.
Alright,
Speak to you
take
later,
care,
man.
brother.
All right, peace, bro.
Peace, man. Well, there we have it. I tell you, wow, what an amazing, amazing interview. I can't thank Diesel Automatic enough. Thank you so much, Diesel. Thank you. I mean, this was an incredible opportunity. I really appreciate the music that you're doing and the message you're putting out there. It's so powerful. And I'm really thankful, as I keep saying, that you took the time to come and speak with me, because I think people have to start putting the message out there more. And then, like we were saying during this interview, in their own unique way. Everybody's got a talent. Everybody can figure out a way to bring the message of freedom, of natural law, of principles, objective morality, all of what we talk about. You can do it in dance, art, podcasting, as Diesel Automatic does, in music. Everybody's got a talent and find their own unique way to do it. And that's how we're going to tip these scales and start making changes in the world that we want to see. In my opinion, that is what's going to make the difference, is that people have to start working on themselves, care enough about what's going on with themselves and around the world, enough to make the changes, and then put that into action after they get the information and the knowledge that they need. Then they got to take the action step, which is lacking, and put it out there and start doing whatever it is that they think they're good at and can make a difference with. And that's all I want to say, guys. Like I said, thank you guys so much for your support and for checking out my interviews and my radio show. Your guys' support means so much to me. I can't thank you enough. I really can't. And so, and if you're like radio, hey, you can check out radio too. I'm on the radio. If you that I'm old school, I love radio. As you guys know, I talk about that all the time. So if you want to check it out, just go to revolution.radio, and I'm on Friday nights from 6 till about 11 p.m. in the Hawk's Nest. Then I'm also on Saturdays in the evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. in Studio B with my co-host Jonathan Wright. That's for the Crypt Rick and Jonathan show. And then on Mondays, it's my Crypt Rick I've Been Thinking show, which is also from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's Studio A. So, guys, please, if you like radio and you just like that format, old school like me, maybe not even old school, but check it out, guys. And it's incredible guest on there. I like to bring in so many different guests, get their points of view, their thoughts on these topics. So thank you guys so much. And please take care of yourself, take care of each other. And remember, you are the greatest at being yourself. Nobody does it better. Peace, guys.